Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. I have been solving math problems for GMAT out of this book here, the GMAT Review, the official guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You should be able to find it at mba.com. Let's take a look at the problem that I'm about to solve. You will find it on page number 182, problem solving number 220. Number 220. It's important that you have the book in front of you so that you can read the problem with me. I do not have a luxury of writing down the entire problem on the blackboard. It says John and Mary were each paid X dollars in advance to do a certain job together. So John was paid X dollars and Mary was paid X dollars. It turned out that the John worked on the job for 10 hours and the Mary worked 2 hours less than John did. In other words, Mary only worked for 8 hours and John worked for 10 hours. But they were both paid the advance amount, which was the same amount. X dollars for John, X dollars for Mary. I suppose they're going to ask us how much Mary has to give to John to make it even for both of them. If Mary gave John Y dollars for for payment so that they would have received the same hourly wage, what was the dollar amount in terms of Y that John was paid in advance? Alright, okay. Let's take a look at it. Now it's an algebra problem, but there is no reason why you should have to use algebra in the exam to solve this problem. If you can do that, great, kudos for you. If you're very good at algebra, if you know how to set it up, and you can finish this thing up in a timely manner, which is less than 2 minutes, with the algebra and get the right answer. Great, kudos for you, as I said. But for those of you who are not very comfortable with algebra, who are not very conversant in algebra, for those of you, I will do this problem in a non-traditional way by plugging in numbers. So, and I'm going to actually write down my thought process so that you learn how this plugging in thing goes actually. Because when you plug in numbers, they don't always work out. So if you plug in some numbers in the beginning and if it's giving you trouble, the numbers are not nice numbers, it turns out as you read the problem, you realize that these are not nice numbers, they are very awkward numbers to plug in. Don't sit there and start crying, just plug in new numbers, that's all it is. So I'm going to actually, on the blackboard, I'm going to write down my entire thought process so that you know what's going on. So it's going to take much longer than it should because I'm explaining everything and I'm writing everything. So let's get going. So let's pretend that let me change the color, this is too thick. John and Mary that is, they each got $100 in advance. Now where did this $100 each come from? I don't know, it just fell from the sky. I'm just plugging in 100 for X. So this X is my 100. So in other words, since they both got $100 each, they're getting $200 for how many hours? John worked on the job for 10 hours and Mary worked 2 hours less than John. Alright, so altogether 18 hours. 18 hours. So had this been real exam, I would have set it up like this. Because I do not read the whole problem in one shot. I just read one sentence, I digest it, I absorb it, I understand it, and I go on to the next sentence. So by the time I would have read the first sentence, this is the workout that you will find on my scratch paper. But as soon as I get to this part, I realize that since I'm paying them $200 for 18 hours, 200 does not go nicely into 18. I'm going to go back and fix it. So instead of paying them $100 each, let's pay them all together something that's a nice multiple of 18. Something that's a nice multiple of 18. Actually, I was going to erase it, but I'm not going to erase it. To make a point here so that you're able to see right away. I'm going to actually cross it out and write a new one so you can see it. Instead of $200, let's let them have $180. In other words, they each get $90. So keep in mind that X now is 90. So John is getting $90 in the beginning and Mary is getting $90 in the beginning. In other words, they're getting $10 per hour. Because they're getting $180 for 18 hours, they're getting $10 per hour. Okay, so that tells me that they are getting $10 per hour because the employer paid them all together, 90 to John, 90 to Mary, $180 for 18 hours worth of work. So it turns out, it boils down, they did not know in the beginning, but that's what it boiled down at the end, about $10 an hour. Now since Mary worked 2 hours less than John, Mary has to give John $20. Since Mary worked 8 hours rather, I made a mistake just now. Since she worked 8 hours, she should get $80. I just made a mistake a little while ago, but that's okay. That's how you catch a mistake. Mary worked 8 hours, she should get $80, but she got $90 in the beginning, which means, here's the beginning part, John and Mary, in the beginning, they both got $90. But Mary should have gotten only $80 because she only worked 8 hours. So she's going to give $10. She's going to give $10 to John. Of course, in the real exam, I'm not going to write all of this thing. I'm just going to think about it. That's all. I'm just showing it to you. So now he gets $10 an hour and she gets $10 an hour. Everything is fine. So the amount of money that Mary is giving to John is what they're calling, if Mary gave John Y dollars, all right, so this is my Y. Now what is the question asking? What was the dollar amount in terms of Y? We have to express it in terms of Y that John was paid in advance. Well, both John and Mary were paid X dollars in advance. X dollars right here. This X dollars in the beginning, I assign a value of $90. So the question simply is, what's the value of X? The answer is 90. And since we want it in terms of Y, and since Y is 10, it's just 9 times Y. That's it, we're done. Because my Y happens to be 10. That's all, we're done. The answer is 9Y. The answer is E. That's it. Okay? Now for those of you who do not like this thing, you're sitting there and you're shaking your head and you say this guy is crazy and this and that, if you're hell-bent on doing it the proper way, the algebraic way, just to amuse you. I myself would not do it the algebraic way, but just to amuse you, if you want to see it, I'm just going to quickly do it the proper way as well. Okay, so here we go, the classical way. The classical method, the traditional method, the orthodox method, the geeky way, the nerdy way, the proper way, the academic way, whatever you want to call it, is this. So they're getting $2x for 18 hours. If they're getting $2x for 18 hours, they're getting 2x over $18 per hour. But Mary worked only 8 hours, so Mary worked 8 hours. Now how do I know Mary worked 8 hours? Because they tell me in the problem that John worked 10 hours and Mary worked 2 hours less than John, which means Mary worked 8 hours. Since they're getting 2x over 18 per hour, Mary should get, I hope you can read my handwriting. Mary should get, well, what should Mary get? 8 times this amount because she worked 8 hours. 8 times the hourly wage, which is 2x over 18. I'm going to erase this multiplication sign so we don't get confused. That's it. Let's simplify it and see what it boils down to. 18 goes into 2 9 times. In other words, Mary should have gotten 8 times x, 8x over 9. She should have gotten 8x over 9. Instead she got 9x over 9 because she got x dollars, which is same as 9x over 9. 9x over 9 is just, that boils down to x dollars. And of course, if I have to explain all this tiny bit of nitty-gritty detail, just like I did here, then you're not cut out for this classical way. I shouldn't have to explain this thing for those of you who have this uncontrollable urge to do it the proper way, the algebraic way. You should know this obviously. So she got 9x over $9, but she should have gotten 8x over $9, which means she got x over $9 more than she deserved. So that tells me, that implies that Mary got overpaid. I'm not sure if overpaid is hyphenated or not. Mary got overpaid x over $9. That's it. Which is what they're calling Y. The amount of money that Mary has to give it back to the John because she was overpaid that amount. She has to give it back to John because that money actually belongs to John. and they're calling that y. Therefore, y equals, therefore, this is your answer, that's it. And they're asking you, what did John get in the beginning? Well, John got X dollars, Mary got X dollars, so the value of X from this equation is simply, this equation tells me that X equals 9 times Y, that's it. Same answer as this one. There is your proper way, and here is the quick and dirty way. Let me take a look at the time in the camera, see if I have time to sermon some more.